Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back. So ExpressVPN is arguably one of the best VPNs out there, but is it worth getting? Is Express worth the price for all the services offered? And at the end of the day, is it worth it to get a VPN at all? Well, in today's video, I'll talk about Express, what it offers, if it works for streaming and torrenting, if it's actually secure, and everything you need to know to really understand whether or not Express is a good choice for you and your situation. And just in case you're already interested in getting Express, I do have the latest discounts and coupon codes in the description down below, so feel free to check those out. Now, I have to say that every year, every month even, I see more and more reasons to use a VPN as just a normal part of being online. There are always stories in the news nowadays about databases getting hacked and user information getting leaked, and it really feels like advertisers are constantly trying to build a profile based on your purchasing habits. Like we used to joke about it in the past, how if you talk about wanting to get a new pair of headphones, the next day you start getting headphone ads, but it's not funny anymore because of how real that feels now. So yeah, in my opinion, it's definitely worth it to have a VPN. It encrypts your data online and protects you from a whole bunch of stuff like website tracking, government surveillance, censorship, your IP address getting exposed, or your personal information getting hacked. And that's especially true if you use public Wi-Fi, by the way. Yeah, in my opinion, it's definitely worth it to get a VPN. But is it worth it to get ExpressVPN specifically? Well, I've tested out a lot of VPNs, and Express really comes out on top in almost every metric. And one of the main metrics that Express really excels at is upholding their no logs policy. And a no logs policy basically means that the VPN company guarantees that they're not keeping any logs or records of user data that can then be used to trace information back to their users. So to guarantee this, VPN companies hire trusted third parties to audit them, and Express has been specifically audited by KPMG, Cure53, as well as PricewaterhouseCoopers. And the reason it's so important for a VPN to have a great privacy policy is because a VPN's main job is to encrypt and safeguard your data online. So if it turns around and sells your data or stores it in a way that leaves you vulnerable, then it's failing in its basic function as a VPN. And again, Express has a great privacy policy, and it's not just because of the audits they go through, it's because Express had its no-logs policy tested in the real world. In 2017, the Turkish government seized one of Express's servers as part of an investigation, but they weren't able to find anything that could be used to trace or identify Express's users. And it's this kind of real-life stress test that makes Express one of the top VPNs in my opinion. Another metric I've tested for when it comes to Express is their performance and speed, as in how fast the internet is while you're using the VPN and how well it's working. Now, I do have to say that it's normal for any VPN to cause speed drops, and that's because of the time it takes to encrypt your data before it reaches the internet. So speed drops between 10 and 20% are considered great. In fact, even a 50% speed drop is still acceptable if you're trying to connect to a server that's really far away. Now, in my testing, I found that while using Express, I never experienced any speed drops past 25%, which is great. And I only got 25% because I was purposely connecting to a faraway server and I was really trying to push the VPN to its max. And it passed with flying colors. For the best performance and speed, I found that using the lightweight UDP protocol was the best, but you may want to experiment with that on your own and see which protocol is best for your area and the server location you're trying to connect to. Now, the main reason having a good performance and speed is important is because it plays a key role when you're using the VPN for streaming or gaming or torrenting. So for example, while using Express for streaming, I was able to watch 4K movies without any buffering or disconnections. Like when I was testing other VPNs, I'd sometimes get disconnected mid-movie, or the VPN would just crash on me and I'd have to try out several servers before I could get the streaming service up and running again, which was quite tedious. But on the other hand, Express doesn't have any of these issues, and I think it's because it gives you access to over 3,000 servers in 105 countries, which is a very high number of countries. So it'll give you access to a lot of online content that you wouldn't be able to access otherwise. Like let's take Netflix, for example. I was able to access more than 20 Netflix libraries from around the world using Express. And it also works for Hulu and Disney Plus and Amazon Prime and HBO Max and so many more. For gaming, I use the lightweight UDP protocol and connected to a server that's closest to the game servers. And I didn't experience any lag or latency problems. Like the connection was really smooth and efficient. Same thing for torrenting. Express doesn't have any bandwidth limitations or throttling issues. And because it has such a great privacy policy, like I explained earlier, it's really reliable when it comes to torrenting. The thing with torrenting is that it's a peer-to-peer transfer, and while you're transferring files to or from someone else, your IP address is exposed to that other person or group. So in this case, it's really important to use a trustworthy VPN that will reliably encrypt your data and hide your real IP address. And Express does that quite well. And Express allows you to have up to 8 simultaneous connections across devices. So that means you and your family or your friends can be logged in under one subscription using Express on 8 devices at the same time. And Express is compatible with a whole bunch of devices too. So smartphones and tablets that run on Android or iOS, Apple TV, the Amazon Fire Stick, laptops and desktops that run on Windows, Mac, Linux, as well as Chromebooks. You get the point. So all that being said, Express is a great VPN, but is it worth the price? And before I can answer that, I have to tell you how much it costs. So here's how it goes. Express offers 3 options. You can pay month by month and it's $12.95 per month. Or if you sign up for 6 months, you pay $9.99 per month. And if you get the annual plan, you're paying $8.32 per month. Now, unfortunately for Express, it is a little more pricey than other VPNs that are in the top bracket, but really it's just a little more pricey, like just a couple dollars a month extra, like less than a cup of coffee. So if you value privacy the most when it comes to VPNs, a couple extra bucks a month is extremely worth it. And if the price is the only reason you'd hesitate, then I hope that maybe the discount code down in the description will help even that out for you. Now, you might be wondering what my personal opinion is when it comes to Express, and I have to say that it's actually the VPN that I use day to day. Like, it's just so reliable and consistent, and it's super quick when it comes to connecting and disconnecting from a server. So that means I can just turn it on and start using it within 1 or 2 seconds, whereas with other VPNs, it can take sometimes up to 10 seconds to connect to a server. And I know that 10 seconds isn't a lot, but it adds up for someone like me who uses VPNs a lot. So that's why I'd recommend it personally, but whether or not it's a good option for you will depend on your specific needs and situation. So all in all, I think it's definitely worth it to get Express, especially because of its privacy policy. And it's definitely worth it to get a VPN in general, especially with how the internet is nowadays. Better safe than sorry, I'd say. And so that's all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to check the links out in the description to grab yourself the best discount possible. Like and subscribe to see more of these videos, and let me know in the comments if there's anything cybersecurity you'd like me to cover. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.